Okay, so in this recording I'm going to show you how to add music for your Viva Voce, and in particular how to get a piece of music and chop it up into pieces so that instead of having to find your whole example you can just play a specific part of it. So I've opened up GarageBand and I'm just going to create a new project. It doesn't really matter which template you use, and it doesn't really matter which settings you use for it, because you're going to be importing a song into it. So here's my GarageBand, and I'm going to drag in this piece of music that I've got on my desktop here into GarageBand, and you can see that it forms a plus signal, and usually just put it in a little bit below and it kind of creates a brand new track. So now I've got my piece of music into GarageBand, and if I press play you should be able to hear it. To get rid of the metronome. Okay, so let's just say that for my Viva, I want an example of just the beginning guitar part. So this little bit here and nothing else. So let's just say I want only that. What I'm going to do is save my project so that I've got it on the desktop somewhere, and I'll just call it my Viva examples and save it on the desktop there. And what I'm also going to do then is make sure that I've selected the piece of music and put the transport bar, I think it's called, wherever it is that you want it to actually stop. Okay, so let's say I want it to stop here. I'm going to go track, edit and split. All right, or the shortcut is Command T, and I split it. And now what it's done is GarageBand has cut in the middle of these two pieces of music. So I'm going to delete this piece of music, and now I've just got this. And it simply has just that little bit there. Now another thing that's really handy is that you can hear that at the end of this piece of music it just is literally chopped and it stops. What is better is for you to fade that out. So if you click on the little disclosure triangle here, it shows you the track volume, and what you can normally do is if you click somewhere just before you want it to fade out and then click somewhere else, you can drag that volume down, and that means that the volume is going to gradually fade out up until that point. It makes it sound more organized, I guess. Professional. Right? Makes it sound very nice. Then, next thing you need to do, at the end of GarageBand, you've got to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. You'll see that there's a little triangle over here. Right? You've got to drag that triangle. This little triangle tells GarageBand where the end of your piece of music is. Right? So if you've got it all the way at the end of bar 143, when you export this, it's going to give you 143 bars of silence after it's played. Right? So you drag it as far back as it goes, and I think there's a minimum, so it only lets you go to like 8 bars or something like that. But I'll just keep dragging, and there it is there. So I think the minimum is 8 bars, which it's got there. And now that I've got my example and I've chopped it up, right, what I now need to do is that I go share and then export song to disk, right? And by clicking on that, it says, okay, do you want to do all these things? And you say, yep. Go export, and I'm just going to put it in. I'm going to create a new folder and call it listening examples. Listening examples. And I'm going to call it, let's pretend that's my example 1. And then I go save, right? It exports it, and that's it. So now that I've done, what I can now do is get all of my listening examples into one folder, and you might have 3 or 4 or 5 of them. And when you're doing your Viva, you can say, so my example 1 is the sound of a guitar with a chorus effect, and here is the example, and you can simply play it. And look at that, that's like a 6-second example to illustrate that one instrument. So it's really good to chop out the parts of music that you can. It means that you don't waste a lot of time having to find the example and fast forward and rewind and so on. It's much better to have them all organized. Any questions, girls? That's it.